जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यमुनतीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर। जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada की। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त। कैंटो 5 चैप्टर 1 टेक्स्ट नंबर 12। तस्य कश्चित् तपसा विद्यया वा न योगवीर्येण मनीषया वा नैवार्थधर्मैः परतः स्वतो वा कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात्। न तस्य कश्चित् तपसा विद्यया वा न योगवीर्येण मनीषया वा नैवार्थधर्मैः परतः स्वतो वा कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात्। न तस्य कश्चित् तपसा विद्यया वा न योगवीर्येण मनीषया वा नैवार्थधर्मैः परतः स्वतो वा कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात्। नैवार्थधर्मैः परतः स्वतो वा कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात्। Viryena by personal strength, Manishaya by intelligence, Va or Na never, Eva certainly, Artha by material opulence, Dharmaihi by the power of religion, Parataha by an external power, Swataha by personal endeavor, Va or Kritam the order, Vihantum to avoid, Tanubhrit a living entity who has accepted a material body, Vibhuyat is able. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. One cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of severe austerities, an exalted Vedic education, or the power of mystic yoga, physical prowess, or intellectual activities. Nor can one use his power of religion, his material opulence, or any other means, either by himself or with the help of others, to defy the orders of this Supreme Lord. That is not possible for any living being from Brahma down to the ant. Purport. In the Garga Upanishad, Gargamuni says to his wife, My dear Gargi, everything is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the sun, the moon, and other controllers and demigods like Lord Brahma and King Indra are under his control. An ordinary human being or animal who has accepted a material body cannot go beyond the jurisdiction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's control. A material body includes senses. However, the sense activities of so-called scientists who try to be free from God's laws or the laws of nature are useless. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is impossible to surpass the control of material nature, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is working behind it. Sometimes we are proud of our austerities, penances, and mystic yogic powers, but it is clearly stated herein that one cannot surpass the laws and directions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, either by dint of mystic power, a scientific education, or austerities and penances. It is impossible. The word Manishaya, by intelligence, is of specific significance. Priyavrata might argue that Lord Brahma was requesting him to accept family life and the responsibility for ruling a kingdom, although Narada Muni has advised him not to enter household life and be entangled in material affairs. Whom to accept would be a puzzle for Priyavrata because both Lord Brahma and Narada Muni are authorities. Under the circumstances, the use of the word Manishaya is very appropriate, for it indicates that since both Narada Muni and Lord Brahma are authorized to give instruction, Priyavrata should neglect neither of them but should use his intelligence to follow the advice of both. To solve such dilemmas, Rupa Goswami has given a very clear conception of intelligence. He says, Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjitaham nirbandhaha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyamuchyate. Vishayan, material affairs, should be accepted without attachment, and everything should be dovetailed with the service of the Lord. That is real intelligence, Manisha. Becoming a family man or king in the material world is not harmful if one accepts everything for Krishna's service. That necessitates clear intelligence. Mayavadi philosophers say, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This material world is false and only the absolute truth is real. However, an intelligent devotee in the line of Lord Brahma and the great sage Narada, or in other words, in the Brahma Sampradaya, does not consider this world false. That which is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be false, but using it for enjoyment is. Everything is meant to be enjoyed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Proprietor and Enjoyer, and therefore everything should be dovetailed for His enjoyment and service, regardless of one's circumstances, favorable or unfavorable. One should use everything to serve the Supreme Lord. That is the perfect way to use one's intelligence. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha. Swayambhu Manu had 5 children. The 2 sons were Uttanapad and Priyavrata. Uttanapada Maharaj became a Grihastha and Priyavrata Maharaj became a Brahmachari under the guidance of Narada Muni. Then Uttanapad's son is Dhruva, and Dhruva had some sons and grandsons, and in that great lineage of Uttanapad and Dhruva, we had so many exalted kings, personalities like Anga Maharaj, and some bad kings also like Vena Maharaj, then Pruthu Maharaj, Prachina Barhi, Prachetas. Like that, the lineage continued for a few generations. And in the last generation, as the son of Prachetas, Daksha was born. And this Daksha, he did not immediately take charge of the kingdom, but he went to perform austerities. He was chanting Hamsa Guhya prayers. He was doing austerities for 5 Manvantaras. One Manvantara is about 71 Divya Yugas. And Daksha, who is supposed to rule, Daksha, who is kind of the recent descendant in Uttanapad's lineage, dynasty, is not ruling the kingdom, but he is just doing austerities. Now, Swayambhu Manu had to do something about the administration of this earth planet. So when one son has ruled and retired, and many of his sons and grandsons also ruled and retired, and there is no one to take charge of the kingdom, Swayambhu Manu thought that I need to call another son. Now you may think, Swayambhu Manu, why he did not retire? His son retired, his grandson retired, many other people in this in that lineage got retired. Several generations in Uttanapad's lineage retired, and why Swayambhu Manu still did not retire? The answer is simple. Swayambhu Manu, or any other Manu for that matter, is posted by the Lord in that position as Manu, and for one entire Manvantara, they are supposed to take charge of the administrative affairs of this planet, Bhumandala. So Swayambhu Manu cannot resign. Right? His job is to either rule or ensure that ruling is taken care of. Now, temple president is there and several department in charges are there. So, people can change departments, but the president has to appoint somebody in that department. Something like that. A simple example. So, Swayambhu Manu had to ensure that someone should take charge of the kingdom. If not, he has to assume that rule. So Swayambhu Manu went to Priyavrata Maharaj. At that time, Priyavrata Maharaj was practicing Brahmacharya. He was living life of a celibate under the guidance of another great Brahmachari, Narada Muni. So Narada Muni was training him in devotional service. And Swayambhu Manu came and said, Priyavrata Maharaj, I don't have anyone to rule the kingdom. Can you please rule the kingdom? Because your brother ruled, his sons and grandsons and several generations ruled, and now uh, the last descendant in your brother's lineage, Daksha, is not available for ruling. He went for austerities. Now you should please assume the rule. Come and sit on the kingdom, sit on the throne. And Priyavrata Maharaj could not say yes or no. Father, not only father, Mahajan, a great devotee. Swayambhaman is not an ordinary king. He is a great devotee. He is the progenitor of mankind. How can you say no to his request? At the same time, Priyavrata Maharaj himself also wanted to remain as a brahmachari under the guidance of Narada Muni. Now, how can he give up that desire, his own desire, according to the guidance of his guru? Whom to follow? So he was in a dilemma. He could not immediately say no, and he could not immediately say yes also. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Dev ki Jai. So, in this context, Lord Brahma descended. So, Brahma, just like Swayambhu Manu is supposed to take charge of the Bhumandala, Brahma is supposed to take charge of the entire universe. He is the leader of all leaders. Within one day of Lord Brahma, 14 Manus change. Right? If one Manvantara period, if you find very long, then see Brahma, how much management he has to do, how much administration he has to do. So he immediately descended. Swayambhu Manu is in problem. His son is not immediately agreeing. Of course, he did not say no also, but he was not ready yet. So Brahma descended to convince Priyavrata Maharaj to take charge of the kingdom. So Lord Brahma started speaking to Priyavrata Maharaj. So that's where we find ourselves in today's shloka. He said, Natasya kaschit tapasa vidyayava na yoga viryena manishayava naivartha dharmaihi paratah svatova kritam vihantum tanubhrdvi bhuyat. Now, in this context, Brahma's intention or mission is to convince Priyavrata Maharaj to become the ruler. Right? That is his job now. But in this context, he is speaking some whenever Lord Brahma or Swayambhu Manu or any other exalted devotee instructs some younger ones, they don't do it whimsically. They are authorized and they are empowered by the Supreme Lord. And therefore, they expect common people or their subordinates to do something. So, Brahma came and endorsed Swayambhu Manu's request. It is not only Swayambhu Manu's request, it is my request also. It is not just my request, it is the Lord's order also. Now here, Brahma did not come alone. He came along with many other devatas and he wants to escape from the responsibilities. Purpose behind his saying no to the kingdom so far is to serve the Lord exclusively. But now the representatives of the Lord are coming to him and saying that please accept this responsibility also. Then what is the reason why this Priyavrata Maharaj is hesitant so much? He was hesitant because if I become a king, if I get involved in politics, administration and management, if I become too absorbed and engrossed in household affairs, what will happen to my bhakti? That is his main problem. You see, before accepting a responsibility that may also come up with certain distractions, devotees are little hesitant. Now somebody comes to you and say, can you become the king? And who will hesitate? Yes, I will become the king. Whether they are qualified or not, whether they are experienced or not, there is an excitement to become the king. They are requesting him not to go and beg. They are requesting him to sit on the throne. But he is hesitating because along with the throne comes some distractions, some disturbances. I may not get to absorb in my spiritual practices so much. So he had that hesitation. So a devotee also have a hesitation to do something which might distract one from bhakti. So with responsibilities effectively. If there is no fear, if one is not fearful of distraction, one is overconfident, one is overexcited, even to enter into the material realm so much in the name of service, then one can get distracted. So, so one needs to have that healthy fear, comfort zone. So we need to be enthusiastic to accept service, but when the service comes along with certain uh, possibilities of disturbances or distractions or deviations, one should be a little cautious, right? So that caution, that little healthy fear is favorable for one's advancement in bhakti, right? Anukulyasya sankalpam pratikulyasya varjanam. That's what we can see in Priyavrata Maharaj's hesitation here. Why is he hesitating? Father is saying in Guru's presence, not that Swayambhavan who took Priyavrata Maharaj serious secretly and then spoke. He spoke right in front of Guru only. Everything is transparently communicated. Narada Muni is also personally present there. And finally, as the story moves ahead, you will see that Narada Muni did not have any objection when Priyavrata Maharaj goes and rules. Right? So ultimately, Priyavrata Maharaj accepted the responsibility of the kingdom, and all these devotees assured that if you, Prabhupada also quotes this shloka, anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjitah nirbandhah krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyamuchyate. You can accept certain privileges or posts or positions or possessions, but anasaktasya vishayan, don't be attached to them. Don't be overly engrossed by them. Accept them, experience them, engage them, utilize them. Don't be attached to them. That accepting responsibility cannot be avoided. We have to accept responsibility. But in the name of responsibility, we should not be unduly attached. And being detached is very important. But in the name of detachment, we can't be irresponsible. Right? Detachment does not mean irresponsibility. Responsibility does not mean undue attachment. So these great Rajarshis like Priyavrata Maharaj, Swayambhu Manu, earlier Dhruva Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Bharat Maharaj, so many great Maharajas, they have demonstrated this wonderful principle, a combination of detachment and responsibility. And that's what Brahma is teaching Priyavrata Maharaj also here. Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjitah. Without any attachment to material different comforts or facilities, whether it is gadgets or opulences or positions or power or whatever, if they engage all of them in Krishna's seva, in Krishna's service, then there is no entanglement, right? If one can, if one has the smartness to engage everything that one has in Krishna's seva, there is no encasement. To avoid encasement, you need to know engagement. Engagement of one's own self and one's possessions in Krishna's seva. Right? So, Priyavrata Maharaj was taught this principle. Don't worry. Obstacles cannot obstruct your devotional service provided you are absorbed in your sadhana. Every day you do some sadhana, Nityam Bhagavata Seva you can do. Every day you charge your spiritual batteries by chanting nicely, by hearing Harikatha nicely. Then you go out and then do some seva, you will not be affected by it. But if sadhana becomes weak, and if one's spiritual connection through Sravanam and Kirtanam becomes weak, then one's dealings with matter one can entangle a person. But if sadhana is strong, Sravanam, Kirtanam, mainly these two basic, fundamental, foundational elements of bhakti, Sravanam, Kirtanam, when they are strong, then one can be rooted in the practice of bhakti. If Sravanam and Kirtanam becomes weak, if hearing and chanting becomes weak, then one's dealings with matter, even under the umbrella of Krishna service also, can create some distractions and disturbances in one's mind. Right? So that's the hesitation that Priyavrata Maharaj had. Now in this context, our Brahma is speaking this shloka. So far I spoke the storyline and the context of the text, but now let's go deep into the text. Show me the shloka here.
Natasya kaschit tapasa vidyayava na yoga viryena manishayava. Very beautiful lines. He says that, please understand that Swayambhumanu's instruction or my request is not whimsical. We are representatives of the Lord. When we are speaking to you, it's as good as Lord speaking to you, and no one should deny the Lord's order. Natasya kaschit tapasa. Tapasa means austerity. Vidya means education. Yoga means mystic power. Now, yoga viryena means one's physical strength. Manishaya, advanced intelligence. So you may have all these elements, tapasa, vidya, yoga, virya, manisha. You may have all these faculties, but with all these faculties, you cannot deny the Lord. Means even if you are very, very educated and knowledgeable, that does not mean you deviate from Krishna's orders. Even if you are extremely austere, you should follow Krishna's order. Even if you are very well educated, you should follow Krishna's orders. Even if you are so wealthy, follow Krishna's orders. Even if you have all kinds of mystic powers, still you have to follow Krishna's instructions. And what else is there? Manishaya. Even if you are extremely wise, intelligent, knowledgeable, seasoned, still you should follow Krishna's orders. Because he is the Supreme Lord. So, naivartha dharma. Artha means money. Dharma means you are being rooted in principles, values, virtues. Naivartha dharmaihi paratah satova. By your own strength or other strength. Paratah means others. Svata means one's own. By your own strength or by other strength, you should not deny the Lord's order. Means, see, I have big contacts. I don't have to follow Krishna's instructions. It doesn't work. I am myself as a big VIP. Therefore, I don't have to follow Krishna's instructions. It doesn't work. That's what he's saying. Kritam vihantam tanubhrit vibhuyat. Tanubhrit, any embodied being, any living being, must follow the instructions of the Lord. Now it seems very authoritative, dominant, oppressive and suppressive, right? The shloka has certain tone where it says as if the person is being subdued. Too much of pressure is put on him. Now, please understand, I think within whatever time we have, let's dwell deep into this one shloka. When the Lord says, just follow me, He is not bossing over us. He is not pressurizing us. When a mother says, or when a father says, my dear child, hold my hand only, don't go anywhere. Do you think that the parents are bossing over the kids? It's care, it's concern, it's not control. When you are caring for someone, control is included in that care. Control is in mode of passion, generally. Care is in mode of goodness, generally. But sometimes under the umbrella of care, there is some little control also. If control overpowers care, then you are just bossing over people. Right? In the name of care, you are controlling means you are just in Rajogun. But with an intention to care for someone, you are controlling them, controlling their movements. So now, parents are sitting here. The child is going somewhere and then doing some mischief there. Parents say, hey, don't go there, come here. There is control. There is a restriction of the child's movements. The parents are restricting them, controlling them, stopping them, not allowing them to do what they are wanting to do, because it's not good for them. So similarly, the Supreme Lord, Krishna also, when he expects his devotees or the living entities to do something, to align themselves according to his instructions, he is caring for them, he is loving them, he is the Supreme Father of all living entities. Mama eva amsho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatanaha. Mama eva amsho. All the living entities are my amshas, my parts and parcels, my fragmental parts, my children. Aham bija pratah pitaha. I am the seed-giving father of all existences, Krishna says. As a father, doesn't he have the authority to instruct the child? If we are considering ourselves as children of God, what's stopping us, or what reservation we have to accept his instructions? He is our well-wisher. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Prabhupada quotes that shloka also in this purport. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. He is the supreme enjoyer of all our activities. And we did tapasa, we did yajna, and he is the enjoyer. You may feel little uncomfortable. I am doing yajna and tapasa, and he is the bhokta, he is the enjoyer. I am supposed to enjoy. Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the proprietor of all planets. He is the creator of all planets. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. The first two statements seem that he is very authoritative, bossy, controlling and all. But see the third line. Suhurdam Sarva Bhutanam. He is our Suhrit. The Bhokta and the enjoyer of the activities of all living beings and the proprietor of all planets is your well-wisher, is your friend. Isn't it exciting? Why are we overwhelmed by only the control aspect of Krishna? He is controller, no doubt. He is Ishvara Paramaha Krishna, he is the supreme controller. But he cares for us. He loves us. It's not that Krishna is legislating. Yes, this is what I am boss. You are supposed to follow me. Samjha kya? It seems that Krishna is very bossy. In some shlokas, Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya Moi sarvamidam protam sutre madiganaiva. There is no one superior to me. Mattaha parataram na anyat. There is no one superior to me. Krishna says this. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything emanated from me. Everything is under my control. Maya adhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam. Under my adhyakshata, under my superintendence, this prakriti is producing so many moving and non-moving, animate and inanimate living beings. I am the boss of Maya also. I am your boss also. So many shlokas where Krishna is apparently boasting about himself. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate. Don't think of anything else. Think of me only. Then only yogakshema mahamyaham. Right? It seems Krishna is very authoritative. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Always think of me, worship me, offer dandavats to me only, offer pranams to me only. Madhyaji, worship me only. So Krishna is saying all this. Not that he wants to boss over us. Not that he wants to control us. You see, Krishna, when he makes certain statements in Bhagavad Gita, apparently it seems that he is controlling us, but actually speaking, he is controlled by us if we love him. Right? Bhaktavashyata. Evam sandarshita hyanga harina bhritya vashyata. Svavashena api krishnena yasyedam seshwaram vashe. All the planets and the rulers of the planets are under Krishna's control. Krishna likes to be controlled by the love and affection of his devotees. Now, Krishna has the other side also. So when Krishna is boasting about himself in the Bhagavad Gita, apparently, he is trying to boost our faith in him. Unless he authoritatively, categorically, conclusively establishes his position as the Supreme Lord, we will not have sufficient faith in him. He has to give us assurance. Don't think, one little child asked me in our kids class. He is asking me, Prabhu, why Krishna is saying like this? Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasya dhananjaya. Why Krishna is saying this? Does he have false pride? One kid asked, hardly 7-8-year-old boy, does Krishna have false pride? It's not false pride. It's not false prestige. Krishna is giving you reassurance that you can trust me. You can believe me. You can depend on me. I will take care of you. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. He didn't stop there. If you see only half shloka, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja, you must think that Krishna is bossy. But see the next statement. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will relieve you from all miseries and sinful reactions. Now, what Krishna said in the first half of the shloka makes sense. It's more justified when you see the second half. Krishna is not saying it out of pride. He really has that capacity. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I have the ability to relieve you from your sinful reactions. Krishna says that. And not just that. Ma shuchaha. He adds the word ma shuchaha. Don't worry. It's concern. It's not that Krishna is only speaking about his capability. He's also expressing his concern towards us. Understand Krishna's emotions when he says this. Krishna is concerned about it. About all of us. When he said, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate, he's speaking the fact. He's not artificially boasting about himself. He's factually speaking about his glories. In fact, Krishna is very humble. He doesn't speak so many things about himself in Bhagavad Gita. Very sporadically, once in a while, he speaks a little bit about his glories. But when the devotee gets the mic, right? Devotee glorifies Krishna in 18,000 shlokas, Sukadeva Goswami. When Krishna speaks about himself, it is 700 shlokas. That too, not all shlokas are speaking about himself. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. Krishna speaks about all topics and he speaks a little bit about himself also. He actually maintained a little low profile. Very few shlokas he spoke about himself. He's speaking about devotees and Prakriti, Kala and all these things. And sometimes he was emphatic. Yes, we understand my glory. Right? Namai viduhu saraganaha prabhavam namaharshayah. Krishna said, Aham ananyas chintayanto mam ejanaha paripasate. Without any distraction in the mind, those devotees who think of me will get my shelter, will get my assistance. Yoga kshemam vaham yaham. I will take care of them. Krishna is not only mentioning about his glory or his capabilities, he is also expressing his willingness to love us, care for us. So that emotion part of Krishna, that concern, that love, the affection of Krishna must be recognized by the readers of Gita and all the scriptures. Here this shloka, this one shloka seems that he's bossing, he's authoritative. Natasya kaschit tapasa vidyayava, na yoga viryena manishayava, naiva artha dharmaihi paratah svatova, kritam vihantum tanubhridvi bhuyat. But there is logic behind what Krishna is saying. So when Krishna says something, he doesn't say anything randomly. He doesn't say anything superficially. He doesn't care how many people are under my control. He doesn't care how many people are out of his control. He cares for everyone. He cares for every single living being. He is concerned. Even if the living being commits such abominable activities and sinful activities and takes birth as an ant or an insect or a snake or a scorpion or a worm in stool also, Krishna accompanies them. Krishna stays right within their hearts as super soul, as Paramatma, directing their wanderings. Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. He is Ishvara. The shloka is very clear. He is Ishvara, he is the supreme controller. But sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. He stays within the hearts of all living beings. He is the supreme controller. Why should he sit in one person's heart, everybody's heart? If he is so powerful, he should not be so bothered about people who are not that powerful. But he loves everybody. Therefore, he is accessible to everybody. He is close to everyone. He is a well-wisher of everyone. He stays within the hearts of everyone. Who can be closer to us than the person who is staying right within our hearts? However close your friend may be or your family member may be, they cannot be as close as Krishna. Krishna is closest to us. Krishna is there right within our hearts as Paramatma. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Mattah smritir jnanam apohanam. He gives us remembrance. He gives us knowledge. He gives us forgetfulness. He stays with us always in our entire journey, either in the material world. Wherever we are in the material world, he stays with us. Once you go to the spiritual world, he is there with us in his full glory, not like a amsha, like Paramatma. In spiritual world, there is no need of Paramatma. Bhagavan is there directly to take care of us. But in material world, the Lord expands himself as Paramatma, amsha, and he stays within the hearts of all living entities and takes care of them. And he urges them through their common sense, through the conscience. No, don't do this, don't do this. But conditioned soul sometimes takes the risk of deviating from the Lord's order and behaving whimsically. From within, the Lord gives them that intuition, that conscience. He urges them, please don't act sinfully. And from outside, he reminds the conditioned souls in the form of his devotees. Through his devotees, he sends reminders. And he also has this Srimad Bhagavatam. He reminds us through scripture also. But sometimes the conditioned soul, not sometimes, most of the times the conditioned souls reject the Lord's orders, injunctions, and they behave whimsically. Yaha shastra vidhimutsrujya vartate kamakaratah na sasiddhimavapnoti na sukham na parangatim. Those who deny the injunctions of the Lord, those who behave whimsically, violating the principles of scriptures, yaha shastra vidhim utsrujya vartate kamakaratah. They behave whimsically according to their own desires. Such people, na sasiddhim avapnoti. They don't get any siddhi or perfection. Na sukham na parangatim. Not that Krishna is very happy to punish them. Finally I found this soul doing some mistake. I can punish him. It's not that Krishna is taking pleasure in punishing people. That's not his job. In fact, Krishna is the opposite. Oh, finally I found something good in this person. Let me give him some mercy. Krishna searches for our good, not for our bad. But when we explicitly show how bad we are, he is obliged to punish us. When we deliberately behave whimsically and then deviate from his instructions, then Krishna is obliged to punish us, but he is not happy doing it. When Duryodhan is lying there in pool of blood with his thigh broken by the gada of Bhima, Krishna was not at all happy to see that scene. Prabhupada writes in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna was not happy to see that scene of Duryodhan just being affected by Bhima's gada. I told him so many times, I personally went as a messenger and advised him to give half the kingdom to Pandavas, at least 5 villages to the Pandavas. But he was so adamant. He said, forget half the kingdom, forget 5 villages. I will not give that much land that is accommodated under the tip of a needle also. Get lost from here. I will arrest you. Even Duryodhan tried to arrest Krishna. Who can arrest Krishna? Still, Krishna is concerned about Duryodhan. I gave him so many chances. But I am obliged to punish him through my devotees because he did not transform. So when Krishna inflicts some pain or punishment on a conditioned soul, it's not that Krishna is taking revenge on them. He's trying to rectify them. Rejection is not the mood of Krishna. Rectification is the mood of Krishna. Krishna killed so many demons because they are not ready for rectification. And even after killing them, he only gave them liberation. But when Kaliya was ready for rectification, humbled himself, Krishna did not kill Kaliya. Krishna only subdued Kaliya, took out his negativity and made him noble, made him surrender unto him. So that's what Krishna prefers ultimately. Krishna prefers rectification, not rejection. And whenever Krishna is strict with somebody, it's not that he rejects them. So it's not that he's taking revenge on them. But sometimes people may misunderstand Krishna. We are undergoing so many difficulties, means God is not there, or God is unkind. He's not hearing my chanting. They don't hear their chanting. They expect Krishna to hear their chanting. Right? We are not attentively hearing what we are chanting. We are chanting and the mind is somewhere else. At least it happens with me. But they expect Krishna to hear my chanting. Are you hearing Krishna? Are you hearing my prayer? While praying also they are distracted here and there sometimes. How many times have you noticed yourself standing in front of the altar but you are looking here and there? So when we are speaking to Krishna, we expect that Krishna must hear us, although we are not attentively speaking to him, attentively praying to him, attentively chanting his names. But we expect Krishna to be attentive, to hear whatever we say in a distracted way. Right? And blame him that he is unkind. He is not compassionate. He neglects me. He creates so many difficulties. He is not resolving my difficulties. Except resolving your difficulties, he has no other job in life or what? So Krishna has many other things to do, many other pastimes to do, right? So we cannot suspect Krishna's integrity and intentions. He is our supreme well-wisher. That faith is the beginning of bhakti. At least we should have faith. Even though I am undergoing some difficulties, these are just results of my past misdeeds and not Krishna's neglect and not Krishna's negligence. So that's why Prabhupada often quotes this shloka. Tatenu kampam susamikshbano bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam hridvagva purbhir vidadhan namaste jivetayo muktipade sadaya bhak. Even if a devotee undergoes so many tribulations, reversals and difficulties and calamities, a devotee only considers those reversals to be results of one's own past mistakes or sinful activities or misdeeds and not Krishna's neglect. And continues to practice devotional service with faith. I often give this example. When Uttara was attacked by Ashwatthama with his Brahmastra to kill her son Parikshit Maharaj, who was still within her womb, Uttara ran towards Krishna. Pahi pahi maha yogin deva deva jagatpate na anyam tvadabhayam pashyet yatra mrityuh parasparam. There is no one else other than you, my dear Lord Krishna, to protect me. Just recently her husband died. Krishna did not protect, by the way. But still she did not lose faith in Krishna. Although Krishna did not protect her husband, when there is an attack on her son, again she went to Krishna only. And even if Krishna had not entered her womb and protected Parikshit Maharaj, Uttara would not have lost her faith in Krishna. Right? Because Krishna knows what is good for me than what I know. I may think this is good for me, but Krishna knows what is good for me more. He knows me more than what I know me. I know myself. That faith Krishna has, that faith a devotee should have. Devotee should cultivate that faith. That's why when this kind of statements are spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam, we should see them properly, not just carried away by the heavy tone of the text, but see the context and see the emotion behind the text. Natasya kaschit tapasa vidyayava na yoga viryena manishayava. With your intelligence, with your money, with your fame, with your influence, with your bodily strength, with your mental strength, with your intellectual strength, with your education, you should not deny the orders of the Lord. You should follow. However exalted you may be, you should follow. It's not like a legislation. It seems like that. But it is a request. It's a prescription. Do this. Krishna will protect you. If you don't do this, not that Krishna will reject you, he'll become concerned because he knows what you are supposed to be doing. What is good for you, you know. Prabhupada says, a child wants to play whole day. He doesn't want to do their homework or do some studies. But parents know that what is good for the child. A child may want to eat ice cream all the while, even if he has cold, something is falling from the nose, but something should enter the mouth. So that's what kids want always, ice cream. They know, you have tonsils and you have this problem, that problem, you should not eat ice cream. So parents will say, they know what it's good for small children. Similarly, in front of the Lord, we are always small kids only, by the way. However exalted we may be. Natasya kaschit tapasa. We may be very experienced in our tapasa or vidya or yoga or manisha or artha, dharma, etc. We may be very exalted. You have become celebrities in the material world. Still Krishna remains the eternal celebrity. So he knows. He's not only celebrity, he's not only powerful, he's not only more intelligent than you, he's not only more powerful than you, he's your well-wisher. We should actually rejoice and celebrate that such an exalted personality, such a universal celebrity, that's a celebrity of all universes, is my friend. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. He's my dear friend. He's my well-wisher. He thinks about me. He feels for me. He has emotions for me. He never leaves me. He stays right within my heart. So bhakti means to recognize those emotions of Krishna and reciprocate with those emotions by following his instructions. And that's what the Dwarkavasis say in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. They say, Bhavaya nastvam bhava vishwa bhavana tvameva mathata suhrutpati pita tvam sadgururnaha paramam cha daivatam yasyanu krutino babhuvima. All these Dwarkavasis are saying, very beautiful. Bhavaya nastvam bhava vishwa bhavana. My dear Lord, you are Vishwa Bhavana, you are the creator of the universe, you are the originator of the universe. All the millions and trillions of universes emanated from your bodily pores in your expansion as Mahavishnu. Bhava Vishwa Bhavana. Although you are so great like that, Tvameva Mathata Suhrutpati Pita. Tvam Sadgururnaha Paramam Chadaivatam. 6 ways of recognizing the Lord. Number 1, Tvameva Mathata. You are our mother. Suhrut. You are our friend. Patihi. You are our Lord. Pita. You are our father. Tvam Sadgururnaha. You are our teacher. Paramam Chadaivatam. You are our worshipable deity. You are our Daiva. 6 ways they glorified the Lord. Tvameva Mathata Suhrutpati Pita. Tvam Sadgururnaha Paramam Chadaivatam. Yasya Anuvritya Krutino Babhuvima. Yasya Anuvritya. Only by following your instructions. Only by following your orders or injunctions. Krutino Babhuvima. We will become successful. We will become Kritartha. Right? For us to become successful or attain happiness and satisfaction of heart, we need to align ourselves with Krishna's mood, the Supreme Lord's will. And it is not a statement made to boss over us. It is a statement made out of deep concern and love and affection for all of us. Whenever Krishna seems to be very authoritative, apparently bossy, we need to understand his emotion. He knows very well. Sometimes the parents are very authoritative. Hey, don't do this. I told you not to do this. Because they are convinced that it is good for them, good for small children. Right? Out of affection. Now, sometimes an average human parent may not have complete picture about the welfare of the child. That's why they take the child to the doctor. I am unable to understand what is his problem. Doctor will see. Right? So, although Krishna describes the soul as Kshetragna and super soul also as Kshetragna, the soul is Kshetragna only to a limited extent. The soul, the Atma, the Jiva can understand one's own body or others' bodies only to some extent, not completely. But the Lord understands everything about everybody completely, at all times, since time immemorial, for the rest of eternity. Therefore, He knows better. We are just drawing a parallel between the Supreme Parent Krishna and a normal human parent, just for understanding. But Krishna is much more than all the human parents. You want a proof? Go to 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Mother Suniti spoke to Dhruva. My dear child, Dhruva, I am one mother. I can give you the affection of one mother only. But Krishna's affection for you is like the affection of 10 million mothers put together. Right? Krishna's beauty is like 10 million cupids put together. Kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. In beauty, Krishna is like 100 million or 10 million cupids put together. And in affection, Krishna is like 10 million mothers put together. Right? Saundarye Kamakoti. About Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Saundarye Kamakoti, Sakala Jana Samahladane Chandrakoti, Vatsalye Matrikoti, Tridasha Vitapitopyadbhuta Udarya Koti, Gambhirye Bodhikoti, Madhuramani Sudhakshiramadhvika Koti, Gauro Devas Sajiyat, Pranayarasapade Darshitascharya Koti. Did you count the kotis in this shloka? You can count later. But I want to highlight only 2 kotis here. 1. Saundarye Kamakoti. In Saundarya, the Lord is 10 million Kamadevs, means Manmadhas, cupids put together. Then Vatsalye Matrikoti. In Vatsalya, in showing affection towards his devotees, the Lord is like 10 million mothers put together. His mother, his father. Tvameva Mathata Suhrutpati Pita. Tvam Sadgururnaha Paramam Chadaivatam Yasyanavritya Krutino Babhuvima. Only by recognizing the Lord as our supreme protector, in fact, only protector, at all times, we need to increase our dependence on Krishna. We need to trust Krishna's intentions. We should not lose faith in Krishna whenever we encounter some unpalatable, uncomfortable circumstances in life. Calamities should not shake our faith. Calamities are opportunities to intensify our faith in Krishna, to increase our dependence on Krishna, to intensify our prayerful attitude. Apparently, in this current context, Priyavrata Maharaj did not have a desire to accept household life or the role of a king, ruler. We can appreciate his detachment, definitely. But according to the Lord's order, according to Brahma's order, according to Swayambhu Manu's request, he extended himself and did that service. And he did that service so well. And he finally got the blessings. And he is the one who created the 7 ditches or the 7 oceans of Bhumandala and created 7 islands of Bhumandala. He also replicated himself as a second sun and gave light to all his citizens when sun is on the other side of the hemisphere. So just because a service is given to a devotee against his desire, that does not mean the devotee underperforms there. Sometimes we are not inclined to do some service and that service is given to us. And out of obligation or respect, we accepted it. Once we accept it, we need to do justice to it to the best of our ability. Priyavrata Maharaj did it to the best of his ability without cutting any corners. So, and the words that Brahma used to convince Priyavrata Maharaj is that the Lord's orders cannot be rejected, right? So ultimately, one needs to invoke that submissiveness and surrender and obedience to the Lord in people. So, who is a good and bona fide representative of the Lord? Not one who finds himself as a replacement for the Lord or who thinks of oneself as a replacement for the Lord. The one who tries to invoke that surrendering mood or submissive mood in the people whom he is dealing with towards the Lord, such a person is a bona fide representative. So whatever he speaks, whatever such a bona fide representative of the Lord speaks, they're as good as the Lord's words. As we know from the last canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, very beautifully, Sutta Goswami says, Kasmayena vibhasito yamatulo gnana pradipa pura tadrupena cha naradaya munaye krishnaya tadrupena yogindraya tadatmanatha bhagavadrataya karunyata tatshuddham vimalam vishokamamritam satyam param dhimahi. In the beginning of the creation, Lord Krishna spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Lord Brahma. And later Brahma spoke Bhagavatam to Narada Muni. Actually, the Lord, through Brahma, in the form of Brahma, spoke Bhagavatam to Narada Muni. Tadrupena cha naradaya munaye. Tadrupena means in the form of Brahma. Basically, whatever Brahma is speaking is as good as Krishna who is speaking. Tadrupena cha naradaya munaye. Krishnaya tadrupena. Krishnaya tadrupena means in the form of Narada Muni, Krishna only spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. This Krishna is Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. And in the form of Vyasadev, Krishna spoke Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami. In the form of Sukadeva Goswami, Krishna spoke Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj and Sutta Goswami. Like that, in this glorious parampara, Guru Sishya parampara, whether Krishna is speaking or Lord Brahma is speaking or Narada Muni is speaking or Vyasamuni is speaking or Shukamuni is speaking, it is Krishna who is directly speaking, because all these great personalities in this Guru Sishya parampara are transparently transmitting the transcendental teachings of Krishna for our transformation and terminate our tribulations. Otherwise, their words will not carry so much potency. Any person's words carry potency only when they represent Krishna And only when they repeat Krishna's words, of course, in a way that is understandable, digestible, relatable, and actionable for the people whom they are addressing, but essential message should be retained as it is. That's why Lord Brahma says in the second canto of Bhagavatam, न भारती मेऽङ्गमृषोपलक्ष्यते न वैक्वचिन्मे मनसो मृषा गति न मे हृषीकाणि पतन्त्यसत्पथे यन्मे हृदौत्कण्ठ्यवता धृतो हरिः. He says, न भारती मेऽङ्गमृषोपलक्ष्यते. Whatever I say, whatever words I speak, they will never go wrong. Whatever he speaks is never wrong. He didn't stop there. न भारती मेऽङ्गमृषोपलक्ष्यते न वै क्वचिन्मे मनसो मृषा गति. Means my mind will never traverse on a wrong path. Means whatever I think is always right. Brahma is saying. Third, न मे हृषीकाणि पतन्त्य सत्पथे. Hrishika means senses. Asatpathe means wrong way. My senses can never function in a wrong way. Means I can never traverse in a wrong path, either through body or mind or words. Means whatever I say, whatever I do, whatever I think is correct. Brahma says. How did he get this confidence? Read the last line of the shloka. In the last line, he said, Yanme hrida utkanthya dhrita vata dhrito harihi. Yanme hridi outkanthya vata. With great utkantha, with great eagerness, with great zeal, I have accepted the lotus feet of Lord Hari in my heart. And that devotion, that surrender, that submissiveness, that dedication that I have towards the Lord is making my words, thoughts, and actions correct. Ultimately, the correctness of our actions is dependent on our alignment with Krishna's will, Krishna's instructions. Only when we follow Krishna's injunctions, Krishna's instructions, we can be assured that whatever I am saying or doing is correct. And the whole purpose of Bhakti Yoga is to align our thoughts, our words, our moods, our needs, our deeds with Krishna's instructions, because He is our well-wisher. Right? It is not that the scriptures are expecting us to give up our free will. You become like a robot, like a machine, just do whatever the Lord says. No, it's an expression of love. The Lord loves us and He knows what is good for us. Therefore, He is advising us, please do this. And because we love the Lord, or we are supposed to love the Lord, and we have faith in Him, we have trust in His intentions and integrity, therefore we are voluntarily agreeing to act according to His expectations. This is a loving affair. It's not like legislation. The Lord is bossing over and this person is being subdued. Not like that. So both of them are loving each other and they are acting in sync with each other. And when that intense love is there, that loving bonding is there between the Lord and His devotees, or the Lord's representatives and His devotees, then that relationship completely nourishes the heart, completely satisfies the heart. Any distraction or deviation from this expected functioning of a soul will only cause dissatisfaction. The soul is expected to function in this way for one's own well-being. That's why in the beginning of Bhagavatam it is said, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaji ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The paradharma, the supreme duty of all living beings is to perform bhakti unto Krishna. And that bhakti must be done without any selfish intentions, without any inconsistencies or irregularities. Then heart is satisfied. Then the heart is completely satisfied. If knowingly or unknowingly, everybody is ultimately looking for the satisfaction of heart, either on material plane or spiritual plane. But most people don't know how to satisfy the heart. They may think that if I do this, I'll be satisfying my heart. Doing that will satisfy my heart. They may not have the right calculation of what satisfies their hearts. But Bhagavatam clears all the confusions and then says, please, this will satisfy your heart. Because Krishna loves you the most, and in your purest state of consciousness, you love Krishna the most, you both acting according to each other's will satisfy both of your hearts. Narada Muni expected that Krishna shows some mercy on Yamalarjuna trees or Nalakavir and Manigriva. Krishna acted according to Narada Muni's will. When a devotee acts according to Krishna's will, Krishna acts according to devotee's will. That is love. There is no force here. Not that I did something for you today, tomorrow you have to do something for me. It's not like that. It's not a business deal. 7th canto Bhagavatam clarifies it. When Narasimhadev asked Prahlad Maharaj, "My dear Prahlad, you please ask whatever you want." You know what Prahlad said? "My dear Lord, do you think I'm a businessman? Do you think I'm a merchant? You expect me to exchange my service in return for some boons, material boons or facilities or privileges or positions or posts? No, I'm your selfless, unalloyed, unflinching servant eternally, and you are my eternal master, loving master. So let this relationship be there between both of us. No other relationship is required. No need of give and take. Give and take is there, but it's an expression of love, not an expression of obligation or formality. It's an expression of love. That's why Krishna said, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktipahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. So when there is bhakti, even if you give me the most inexpensive offering, I will be happy to receive it. But when there is no bhakti, even if you give me the most expensive offering, including Chappan Bhog or royal accommodation in Dushasan's palace, Duryodhan, I will not accept your hospitality, so-called motivated, selfish hospitality. I will go and eat banana peels in Vidura's home. Okay? Bye. So Krishna did not entertain Duryodhan's invitation. So these are a few thoughts on this shloka. Krishna ultimately expects us to act in a certain way, not that he wants to boss over us, but he knows it is good for us. And let's understand the heart of Krishna. Let's not misunderstand Krishna. All the shlokas that are presenting Krishna as very authoritative or apparently bossy have a very deep loving emotion. They are describing a deep loving emotion in Krishna's heart. He loves us. He's concerned for us. He cares for us. So with these words, I will conclude. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He also needs a mic. Speak loudly.
Is very clear. Priyavrata Maharaj is being instructed that our words are Krishna's words, you follow it. But most of in our situations, we get pros, cons, and we are asked to decide on ourselves, like Yathechisi Thakur, like that. In our cases, mostly our authorities say, you decide. They say this is good, this is bad, and like that, they ask us to decide on ourselves. They don't
Even
give.
Krishna also does the same thing, right? Krishna told Arjuna, Vimrshyaita daseshena. I have spoken. Karma yoga, Jnana yoga, Dhyana yoga, Bhakti yoga. I have spoken what is right, what is good, what is bad, what is wrong. Kalosmi lokakshayat krit pravruddho nimittamatram bhavasavasachi. So many things I have spoken. But yathechasi tatha kuru. After a detailed analysis of what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is harmful, what is beneficial, Krishna will leave the decision to us. Because if Krishna intrudes into our autonomy, into our minute independence, we are actually robots. We're actually machines. So what makes a machine and a living being different? That consciousness and that ability to make a choice, that minute independence or free will. That's what makes a living entity different from a robot, right? So Krishna expects us to voluntarily love him, voluntarily serve him, voluntarily act according to his instructions. He doesn't want to forcefully do it. That's what I said. So he doesn't want forceful love. He wants loving love, voluntary love. So, following the footsteps of Krishna, many seniors also say, if you do this, this will happen. If you do this will happen. Any major decisions where you as a person have to take, they will not intrude. Some things, okay, they may say, hey, you have to do like this only, small, small things. But any major decisions personally that we need to take, they will expect us to make a choice. Otherwise, tomorrow, if you do this and then if it goes in a different direction, you will blame them, right? So it's good to expect people to make their voluntary choices after explaining what is right and what is wrong. Krishna also says, Yethechasi tatha kuru. Then Arjuna consciously said that Karishye vachanam tava. I will do what you want me to do. Although you told me to choose whatever I want, but I will do whatever you want me to do only. That is love. In love, there is not so much force. Because Krishna loved Arjuna, he respected his ability to make a choice. Of course, Krishna knows Arjuna will choose what I say only. But through this, he is also giving a message to all of us that Krishna will not intrude into our minute independence. We always have that independence to either act wrongly or rightly. And Krishna gives knowledge, he gives facility, and he will give independence. Now you make a choice. Then Arjuna chose, consciously he chose. I will follow you. Any other question or comment? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and association. It was such an enlightening class. And my question is regarding, Priyavrata has done so much of tapasya, he was knowledgeable and all everything. But here, as an individual soul, we are carried with so many material duties as well as spiritual duties. So sometimes it is so difficult to strike the right balance between the spiritual and material duties, Prabhuji. So how to ensure, because once we carried with material duties, we will be engrossed and engaged in that service only, means in that activity. But whereas in spiritual, again, if we are in spiritual activities, we just neglect our material duties. So
Arjuna is fighting and killing so many people in the Kurukshetra battle. Is it a material duty or spiritual duty? Arjuna's killing, was it material duty or spiritual duty?
It was a material duty under the instruction of by Krishna.
He's doing it for Krishna. What is the purpose of Krishna's appearance? Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavama yuge yuge. To protect the righteous, to punish the vicious, and to establish dharma are the purposes of Krishna. Clear. And Krishna fulfills these three purposes personally many times. And Krishna also fulfills these three purposes through his devotees. When Arjuna is fighting in Kurukshetra battle, it seems it's a material activity, but Arjuna is serving Krishna to fulfill these three purposes of his descent. Krishna told Arjuna, you do paritranaya sadhunam, you do vinashaya dushkrutam, you do dharma samsthapana, and I will guide you as a driver. I am not just a driver of your chariot, I am a driver of your life. So, when a devotee apparently engages in material duties also, because in the core of the heart the devotee wants to serve Krishna, even the so-called material duty also becomes a spiritual duty. A devotee may take care of family maintenance. It may seem material. But in the family there are devotees, and whatever you do to your family members is Vaishnava Seva. Right? So, and a devotee may earn livelihood. That is required for one's own bodily maintenance. Without this body, how can we do sadhana? What is sadhana bhakti? Sadhana bhakti is to engage our senses in Krishna's seva, right? So that we can develop bhava at the end. So, For that, senses have to be strong, means they need to be fed. That means you have to earn livelihood. So, apparently, an activity in which a devotee is engaged in may seem material activity, but because the underlying intention of the devotee is to ultimately serve Krishna, even that so-called material activity also becomes a spiritual activity. Nevertheless, even while serving Krishna in this material world, he may have to deal with matter while doing material duties. We need to be careful. Not that, okay, let me go to office and it's all spiritual activity. Walking on the road, spiritual activity. There are distractions. Although to come to temple, you may have to walk on the road and you may have to be exposed to different visuals. They may distract us because ultimately I'm going to temple. It's a spiritual activity. It is. But we need to also protect ourselves from the distracting visuals. Right? So, yes, while dealing with matter in this material world, there are so many possible distractions. We should not be carried away. We should try to constantly remind ourselves of all the instructions of Guru and Krishna and protect ourselves. But when we are in this consciousness, even the so-called material engagements also become a part of our spiritual life. Arjuna's killing is also service to Krishna. Now, Arjuna agreed to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra not because Krishna just convinced him that you are a Kshatriya. Arjuna forgot that he was a Kshatriya and Krishna reminded him that he is a Kshatriya in 18 chapters. Then he agreed to fight. It's not like that. Arjuna understood his duty as a servant of Krishna. My service is to fight. Nimittamatram bhavasavya sachin. Krishna said as a part of fulfilling the purpose of my descent, Mayaivaite nihataha porvameva. I have already killed all these people. Now you have to manifest their death. That is your service. So even that fighting is a service. Ma manusmara yuddhacha. Yuddha is a service. Anusmara should go on in the background. Yuddha should also go on parallelly. So then there is no difference between material and spiritual activity as such. But still, when we are engaging in activities in material world, there is possible distraction. We need to take care of that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. When it is generally we do our activities or service according to psychophysical nature, but when it's extremely required, like Priyavrata Maharaj, we do what is needful to be done. But sometimes, Prabhu, like in the past, we may have done that because our authorities instructed, you please do this kind of thing. But then we continue after some time, we feel like, I'm not getting that kind of natural inclination to do this. Okay, some slight disappointment or dissatisfaction remains. I should have done what it is very comfortable for my psychophysical nature, something like that. So, what is the real lacking here? Like,
express it. You need to discuss with whoever is engaging in service. You can always express your difficulty and then take some guidance. I feel that this service suits me more than that service. So, what do you think? If we are missing something in our thought process, in our analysis, they will help us understand that point. And if they are missing something in their observation, they will get more information. So, like the discussion will clear a lot of such misunderstandings or whatever. We can express, we can take out some time and discuss or write an email, something like that. Right? Instead of getting into blame game, holding some negativity within, just express it politely, gently in a Vaishnava way. In a Vaishnava way, let's express ourselves. Whatever you are thinking, then be open-minded to accept whatever suggestions come based on whatever you have expressed. Then you'll come to some kind of amicable, practical solution, right? Conclusion. Thank you very much. We'll conclude here. Hare Krishna.